This is Mrs. Tolson, and I'm going to review with you how to make a circle graph using a protractor. Before we can begin, we need to review some vocabulary. So please remember that a circle graph represents data as a part of a whole using a circle. A circle graph is sometimes referred to as a pie chart, but the correct terminology is that it is a circle graph. If you remember, a circle measures 360 degrees and it represents 100% of our data. The new thing that we need to talk about is a central angle. And a central angle has a center of the circle as a vertex and then two radii as the rays. So let's look at a new set of data. If we look, we see that we have several crops and we know the acreage. Before we can begin, we need to calculate our total by adding up all of the data in the first column. Once we have this, then we can convert the number of acreages into a decimal form by dividing the area by the total. Once we have completed this, we need to calculate our percent by multiplying the decimal by 100. The percentages are the labels that we will use for the wedges or the sectors on the circle. Again, you need to make sure that your total is 100%. After we've completed that, we need to calculate the central angle measurement. The way we do this is by multiplying the decimal by 360 degrees, since there are 360 degrees in a circle. If necessary, round your sector degrees or your central angles to the nearest whole number. Again, check to make sure that your total is 360 degrees. If it's not, you need to go back and make some adjustments. 1 or 2 degrees in the central angle is not going to distort the data. Alright, so now we know our percentages. We know what we're going to label our sectors. We need to actually draw these using a central angle. So we need to begin by drawing a circle. Labeling the center of the circle with the dot, and then using a straight edge, draw a radius from the center to one of the outside curves. This will be our starting point. Now I need to measure the first central angle of 126 degrees. You do this by placing your protractor on the circle. The center of the circle needs to be in the center marker on your protractor. Make sure it is lined up level with the baseline that's pointing to 0. Once you have ensured that everything is level, then you need to count up from 0 using the inside numbers to our first central angle of 126 degrees, which is located about here. Make a pencil mark on the outside of the protractor to mark your spots. Then you can remove the protractor, turn it around, and line up the straight edge. Okay, and make sure that it is straight, and draw a line. Once we have the line drawn, then we remove the protractor. We need to label the sector or the wedge as corn and then write in the 35%. We're going to repeat this same process for each sector. This time we're going to turn the protractor around. The center of the protractor is at the center of our circle. Our baseline this time needs to be lined up with the outside radius that we used for the corn. So we started with this one, and we're going to go around counterclockwise to do the next wedge. The next central angle measure is 72 degrees. So again, starting at 0, using the inside markers, we're going to go to 72 degrees. Using a pencil, we're going to put a mark on the outside of our circle to mark our spot. We're going to move the protractor around, use it as a straight edge, line it up the center of the circle out to our marker and draw a line. Make sure we label as we go along. Okay, so we're almost halfway finished. Let's keep going. The next wedge is going to be a 90-degree wedge. So again, line up the center of your protractor. Notice we've rotated our protractor around upside down. The center is going to be lined up on the center of our circle. Line up the 0 line with the last radius we just made for soybeans. And then we're going to count over 90 degrees. Again, using the inside numbers. Make a mark outside of the circle. Turn our protractor around. Use it as a straight edge to connect the radius to the outside circle. Label that next wedge. Alright, we're almost finished, so let's move to the next one. The 18 degrees or 5%. Lining up our protractor in the center, continuing the same process, making a mark where 18 degrees is, using our protractor as a straight edge, and we're almost finished. Okay, our final wedge should be 54 degrees, but please double check just to make sure. Use the protractor, line it up, and verify that that is 54 degrees. If it's off a degree or two, it's okay. But if there's a major difference or discrepancy, please start over. Make some adjustments if necessary. Now we have our circle graph completed. We have our wedges labeled. We have our percentages labeled. Everything adds up. And we are finished. Except for, don't forget your tails. So we need a title for this graph. It could also be very nice if you colored the wedges or did some kind of design to make it appealing. Your teachers would appreciate that. I also found this YouTube link that you can watch that has another teacher walking through the process of creating a circle graph with a protractor. Now it doesn't go back over how to calculate the central angle measurements, but it is another visual of how to. Okay, I clicked on the link. Let's hope that it works.
Right. To begin, we draw a center of the circle and a radius, which is the length from the outside of the circle to the center. At this point, you want to turn, match up your hole in the protractor with the dot in the center of your circle, and match up this line with your radius. Since our first pie slice is 108 degrees, we start by counting by tens, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then connect your center of your circle to the outside of the circle by matching up the center dot to the dot you created outside. Now, you will turn your protractor, and it's always easiest to turn your paper as well, and match up your new line that you've drawn. Our next slice is 94, so we count 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 1, 2, 3, 4, place a dot, connect the center to the outside of the circle, and we have our next degree slice. So continue rotating in this fashion. The next one is 72 degrees. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 1, 2. And 58. And you just leave the remaining slice to be your last slice. Don't forget to label it how you see fit. You can either label on the inside, or feel free to draw a legend using colors or different patterns. Thank you.
All right, I hope you'll find this helpful, and remember, we're going to start this in science, but you'll see it again in math. Bye.